im richtigen Zimmer und da trifft Tessa dann eben auch auf ihre Mitbewohnerin Steph und ja. Let's hear it.
Okay. I thought that's what you were saying, but I wasn't sure. Okay. I'm going to go slower than yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched the live stream, but it was my first time ever reading in front of a bunch of people outside of school, which was miserable. So bear with me. Okay. It's B22. We are in C Hall, I tell them. Luckily, I see a large P. B. Sometimes people won't notice, so I'm just going to go with it.
You just flagged it.
Okay. Painted on the wall. Down here, I instruct when my mother begins to turn the opposite way. I'm thankful that I only brought a few clothes, a blanket, and some of my favorite books along, so Noah doesn't have too much to carry and I won't have too much to unpack. B22, my mother huffs. Her heels are outrageously high for the amount of walking we endure. At the end of a long hallway, I slide the key into the old wooden door, and when it creaks open, my mother lets out a loud gasp. The room is small, with 2 beds and 2 desks. After a moment, my eyes travel to the reason behind my mother's surprise. One side of the room is covered in posters of music bands I've never heard of. The faces on them covered in piercings and their bodies with tattoos. And then there's a girl lying across one bed, and her bright red hair, eyes lined with what looks like inches of black liner, and arms covered in colorful tattoos. "Hey," she says, offering a smile that I find quite intriguing, much to my surprise. "I'm Steph." She sits up on her elbows, causing her cleavage to push tight against her laced-up top, and I gently kick at Noah's shoe when his eyes focus on her chest. "Hey, I'm Tessa," I choke, all of my manners flying out the door. "Hey, Tessa, nice to meet you. Welcome to WCU, where the dorms are tiny and the parties are huge." The crimson-haired girl grins wider. Her head falls back into a fit of laughter, and she takes in 3 horrified expressions in front of her. My mother's jaw is wide open, practically on the carpet, and Noah shifts uncomfortably. Steph walks over, closing the gap between us, and wraps her thin arms around my body. I'm frozen for a moment, surprised by her affection, but I return her kind gesture. A knock sounds at the door just as Noah drops my bags onto the floor, and I can't help but hope that this is all some sort of joke. "Come in," my new roommate yells. The door opens and 2 boys walk inside before she finishes her greeting. Boys inside the female dorms on the first day? Maybe Washington Central was a bad decision. Or perhaps I could have found a way to screen my roommate first. I assume by the pained expression crossing my mother's face that her thoughts have taken the same course. The poor woman looks like she might pass out any moment. "Hey, you Steph's roomie?" one of the boys asks. His blonde hair is styled straight up, and there are sections of brown peeking through. His arms are scattered with tattoos, and the earrings in his ears are the size of a nickel. Yeah, my name is Tessa," I managed to say. "I'm Nate. Don't look so nervous," he says with a smile, reaching out to touch my shoulder. "You'll love it here." His expression is warm and inviting despite his harsh appearance. "I'm ready, guys," Steph says, grabbing a heavy black bag from her bed. My eyes shift to the tall brown-haired boy leaning against the wall. His hair is a mop of thick waves on his head, pushed back off of his forehead, and he has a metal in his eyebrow and lip. My focus moves down to his black t-shirt to his arms, which are also covered in tattoos. Not an inch of untouched skin is seen. Unlike Steph and Nate's, his appears to be all black, gray, and white. He's tall, lean, and I know I'm staring at him in the most impolite way, but I can't seem to look away. I expect him to introduce himself the way that his friend did, but he stays quiet, rolling his eyes in annoyance and pulling out a cell phone from his pocket of his tight black jeans. He definitely isn't as friendly as Steph or Nate. He's more appealing, though. Something about him makes it hard to tear my eyes away from his face. I'm vaguely aware of Noah's eyes on me as I look away and pretend that I'm staring out of shock, because that's what it is, right? "See you around, Tessa," Nate says, and 3 of them exit the room. I let out a loud breath. Calling the last few minutes uncomfortable would be an understatement. "You're getting a new dorm," my mother roars as the door clicks shut.